Hi everyone, Margaret Maloney coming to you from PM Student today. Welcome. Today we're going to just have a very quick lesson, or how to, if you will, on how to conduct a virtual meeting successfully. Because I think we've all at this point in our careers probably been part of a virtual meeting. And can we acknowledge that not all of them are successful? There's a lot of email reading and texting and things that are going on during the meeting, which are not making it a successful virtual meeting. But now we're going to look at some tips so that your virtual meetings are successful. Okay, with that thought in mind, let's go. Tip number 1, be extra nice. And now you say to me, well, thanks for the obviousness, Margaret. The reason it's so important to be extra nice in a virtual meeting, especially if you've never met one another, is there are things that get lost when we're virtual. For example, we don't know each other's tone of voice very well. Now, sometimes there's, universal tone that people take when they're angry, but some people also speak really loudly when they're excited. Some people speak very quickly when they're animated, and it doesn't necessarily mean they're angry. But what we want to make sure is that we are extra nice, extra polite, that we make sure our thoughts are understood clearly. If we are joking, that we make sure people understand we're joking. And I don't want us to be completely humorless, but I would say be careful in the ways in which you joke in a virtual meeting when you're first getting to know people, because they can't see you and they can't see maybe the twinkle in your eye. Now, exception to this could be like when you're on camera, like, hi, I'm on camera right now, and hopefully you can see me smiling and you know that I'm happy to be here with you right at this moment. But a lot of virtual meetings are conducted with no cameras or very poor cameras, or basically the phone, or a WebEx type technology, which are all very good. But so we want to be extra nice and extra polite so that people cannot in any way misjudge our intentions. That is our first tip. So here's tip number 2, make the call. And what I mean by make the call, I don't mean, he's out at first. I mean make the call, like when it makes sense to do so, pick up a phone. So often some virtual meetings are conducted, texting, instant messaging, my little finger's going crazy over here. And it very often makes sense to step away from that technology. And if you can't be together in person, pick up the phone, or let me say it this way also, or pick up the Skype, but pick up some technology where you can step away and actually talk voice to voice, person to person. That still is the most efficient way to strengthen your relationship, other than seeing each other in person. Strengthen your relationship and solve something, because you could send me something in an instant message and it could be 5 words and you might feel that 5 words are enough. Hey, maybe they should have been enough, but perhaps I didn't understand you, and more IMs and texts aren't going to help me. But you and I talking, that's going to help me. So that's our second tip. Are you ready for tip number 3? Focus. And this one can be very challenging. I think especially because you're so busy, your team members are so busy, there is such a temptation to do other things, that infamous multitasking, and we can do a whole other conversation about multitasking another day, and you know what? Probably we will. We aren't designed to multitask. When I am answering my email while we're on a virtual meeting, I'm not hearing you. I'm not hearing you fully. I used to have somebody on my team who did that all the time, and he was a really nice man, and because we had the chance to work together face to face and develop a rapport, I was able to joke with him. And when I said something that called for his specific area of expertise, and he didn't answer, I knew it was because he was doing something else. And so I would say, okay, Mr. X, you just volunteered to give me $10,000, so you're going to write me a check by the end of the day, right? And that would usually wake him up, so to speak, and he'd turn around or come back to the meeting and say, what? I said, you promised me $10,000. And that actually became our cue, and he knew he hadn't been listening, and that would bring him back for a little while. Something I recommend, if you can, turn your back on everything else but the meeting. So if it's a phone call, rotate, and I won't do it right now because that would be rude to you. Bye. I'm not going to do it right now, but I will. When I'm sitting here in this chair and I'm on a phone call with someone, I will rotate my chair around so that I'm not facing my computer, because otherwise I might get tempted to start doing things on my computer and then I'm not focusing. So try to enact close everything, focus only on this meeting rule if you can with your team. Find a way to make it fun, because what we need to do is to focus. And then maybe if we focus and we're more efficient and we handle the topics we need to handle, well, guess what? Our meetings might become productive and we might finish on time or early. And then people will stop saying things like, well, the reason I do 5 other things while I'm in a meeting is because meetings take up all my time. I don't have time to be effective. So tip number 3, focus. Tip number 4, meet in person. Whenever possible, augment your virtual meetings with in-person meetings. I understand we may not all have a lot of travel budget. Some of us are working, from across the globe from one another. Whenever it's possible, try to hold an event or two once or twice a year or once a quarter, again, depending on what your budget and time and everything allows, where people can actually see one another. Now, something else that's helpful in between is if you have, like a project team website where you can see one another, and at least you can see pictures, because doesn't it help when you can picture someone? For example, I hope that getting to know me and seeing me is helping you and I and our PM student community to grow stronger too. And I'm going to share with you my own personal painful lesson learned, which you will never do. I was working with a team who was across the globe, and we did calls. And we actually did set up a little intranet site where we posted pictures and a little bit about one another. And I went on a business trip, and I went to visit my team. And one of them was picking me up at the airport. And I was very embarrassed because I didn't recognize him, and his feelings were hurt. And I could have saved myself that, no, not me, I should not save me anything. I could have treated him better and with more respect if I had spent more time paying attention to our team intranet site. I would have recognized him. So if you build something with one another's pictures, spending time on that isn't playing. It's part of building a good professional relationship. That is our 4th and final tip on having a good, successful virtual meeting. And the 4th and final tip isn't about being virtual at all. It's about augmenting being virtual. So the 4th one is try to meet in person once or twice as you can. That's our lesson for today. Thanks so much for being here. Till next time, bye.